attention, being, keeping our attention where we put the priority. That works. So
Yes.
today is quiet, but if noise come up, remember it's time to pay attention, not to the noise, but to your inner voice. So your inner voice doesn't get covered up, right? Okay.
Okay.
So
I love your teaching.
oh, thank you.
No, really. It's like this is timely for me.
Well, I believe it's timely for everyone, including myself. So this is good.
Thank you for your candor. I'm going to turn off my camera and just listen.
Okay, no problem. All right, so we're going to start with practice today. I'm going to keep the question for the end because there's already questions that came up during the week that are already answered, by written, but I need to get everyone, especially some good questions about energy and sexual energy, especially. So we're going to get there. But in the meantime, today on the subject is to cover up the reason why we've been practicing so much, for the past few weeks we've been together. And basically is to move from internal conflict to internal self-support. And yes, that requires attention. And that's going to be the main focus of the practice. Be able to switch from the attention from one intelligence to the next in order to be able to fulfill only the most positive aspects of that intelligence. One after the other. So it means like we have a whole mind working together with those 5 intelligences into one integrated mind. That works? You guys ready? So I'll give you another 30 seconds to get prepared, including myself. Finding a good, comfortable position. I recommend not to lie down, but to being maybe more sitting up, not stiff. No, if you are more comfortable lying down, please lie down. It's okay. But in order to have the right kind of brain waves for good meditation, you need to have that verticality. And it's physics. It's like an antenna. In order to work well, to be vertical, is going to have a better reception and a better emission also than if it were just horizontal. Okay, so the landscape behind me, just for everyone to share. This is very important place in the world. This is situated in Crete, the birthplace of Zeus, in the Greek mythology. And one of the, the direct descendant of Zeus is Apollo. We probably heard of Apollo, and there is 2 sides of Apollo, yin and yang, both. There is a solar Apollo, yang, and the lunar Apollo, yin. And one of the very famous child of Apollo is Asclepius. Asclepius, you might not have heard of him, but you know about him because his symbol is everywhere. You saw the symbol of pharmacies with the caduceus, that snake around the stick, around the fountain, and things like that. That Asclepius. Asclepius always pictured with a stick, walking stick, and a snake going around it. And symbolically, basically, now we know that it represents the coil of our DNA inside the body and the origin of life. And within the origin of life, the memory of life and its conservation. And that's a very important aspect of what we call medicine. And what I have in the background here is one of the earliest dig in archaeology of the temple dedicated to Asclepius. And it's a very remote place in Crete, cannot access by road. You have to go by boat, or you have to go up and down the hills and the mountains actually to reach it. So not very easy place to go. But in any case, people still go there to the temple. And even though there's only a few, I mean, big, big blocks, you know, the monolites around, it's a very ancient, temple on a very strong telluric site in terms of earth power. And this is the ground. This is the ground of the temple, you know, with those the designs are still very, very clear. And the main practice of that temple, dedicated to Asclepius, is to follow a very ancient healing process, a very old tradition. It's called incubation. And basically, this temple, people go there to sleep overnight and dream. And that's where the healing is coming from. This temple is, I don't know, maybe they dates between 4,000, 5,000 years old. You know, it could be older. You know, it was even before the flood that really destroyed a big part of the Mediterranean over there, and that created the islands of all those islands are volcanic, and so that 5,000 years ago, 6,000 years ago, I'm not sure. So in any case, it's not because it's all that's good, no? But it is important. And that's going to be one part of our practice, connecting with the all important part of our ancestry to get the support, to get that benefit in there. Okay, ready everyone? Everyone is ready? Okay, so a good sitting position and allow the energy go up your back and down the front of your body. So the yang energy has to go down. So all the releases, breathing out. So the inhale can go up the back of your spine all the way up, you know, to the top. And let it circulate up your back, down the front. That's called the fountain of life. That fountain you find on the caducée, you know, the pharmacies symbols, and the fountain with a snake around it, and the spirit of life, the memory of life, your DNA. So be aware of the energy going up your back and down the front, and feel like that every fountain, or that water coming from the bottom. And so opening your pelvic floor to receive that water of life, like a spring coming from the depth of the origin of life inside the earth. So you feel solidly connected to the source of life, like everything alive around you. Every people, every animal, every plants, every viruses, microbes, you know, whatever, you know, all the everything that participates to life connects to the source of life. And that source comes from very deep inside the earth. Feel that connection there. Bring up your back and down the front, flowing, feeding your fountain of life. For people that know about it, there's 7 levels of individuation, but that's okay. Even if you don't know about it, you have it, you're alive. You have a fountain of life circulating up your back and down the front of your body into a continuous flow. And then be aware of your mind. The whole mind, like being a round table. With the water coming from the depth of the earth, but supporting your back, going up your back. So you can float on it with all the presence of the past that's coming all the way to right here, right now in the present to support your life. To feed your life with fresh spring water coming from the very depth of the earth. And that water is very ancient. It's as ancient as the granite that's holding it on Earth. And the same water going up to the surface, evaporating, turning into clouds and raining back down into the Earth. And going back down inside the depths of the Earth before surging again to new springs, new lives. So feel connected to the origin of life and being connected of that network coming from the ground that feeds everything alive around you. So you feel that water coming up from the ground, feeding your back and flowing back down like a fountain in front. And feel that a fountain, you expose it to the sun, to the bright golden light of the sun. So it can absorb all the beautiful light and make water beautiful. Beautiful to look at, a fountain under the sun with all the rainbows, all the sparks. The sparkling of fresh water exposed to the sun. Attracting life toward the future. So feel the water coming from inside the earth and your back, going up your back, exposing it to the light of the sun in front of you. So feel that water coming from the ground, feeding every single cell in your body with a freshness. Renewing the water in every single cell. And bringing that water right to the light, to the sun. And that light warming up that water, every single cell, and bring that warmth, cellular warmth, into your blood. Water turning into wine. Old tradition. Water turning into blood. And feeling that your blood, that attraction to life, that joy of life. We were born to enjoy life. So feel the fresh water going up your back, going up the front, up to the top, exposed to the warmth of the sun and the light, and flowing down in your body with bright blood, happy blood. Feel like every single red cells in your body laughing, smiling, filled up with sweetness and joy. Feel that water of life coming from the depth of the ground where your ancestors are. Feeling that the very best of your ancestors providing you with the sparks of life. So you can continue the business of life. Continuing the life that's coming from the depth of the ground. Exposing it to the sun, to the future of the next generations. So the next generation are going to be happier, always happier. More progress, more enjoyment of life, better settings in life. So connecting, that's called spiritual access. From your inner water toward your inner fire, from your water of your cells to the blood pumping in your heart with enthusiasm of life. Being attracted into life. And then being able to connect with the other axis of your mind called the soul axis, what's more personal. Feel that water going up from the ground, being exposed to the sun and growing your brain, growing your nerves, the wood system. A beautiful wood turns into the forest and the prairies, or the most, what makes all the beauty of landscapes, of the trees, the elegance of the landscape. Because that wood has a shape, has a shine given by your inner metal. From the surface of wood to the essence of your soul, the feelings that give beauty to creation, and give beauty to everything that participates to life or supports life, sustains it. So feeling your nervous system, the wood being nurtured, being fed by the water, and being attracted by the fire in front of you. So your mind and the rational thinking, your consciousness is always attracted to the very best, creating always a better future for life, not only for you, but everyone, with everyone you share that life. And everyone means everything alive. Not only your small circle around you. No restriction. Everything alive will benefit of your inner growth in terms of life. And the more vitality we grow within ourselves, the more share, the more we can multiply life around us. So feel the strength of wood in all your nerves, being fed from the fresh water coming from very deep. Being attracted to life by the sun, nice sun. Like the Mediterranean sun shining on the landscape behind me. Attraction to life. And building the consciousness that allow us to sit back and contemplate and seeing how good and how nice the world is, the beauty of it. And able to use that consciousness of wood, that thinking that takes a reflection, that takes setting back and contemplate, and the extraordinary mental capacity to step out of the present and see, and the consciousness, and be able to look for what is more beautiful. What is it that we're gonna choose or expose for choice? Because be able to widen the range of perception and be able to see better, see more clearly using the light, using the reflection of the light from the mirror of or inner metal. What is it? Whatever it is that we feel is more elegant, more beautiful. Whatever is able to reflect the light, and what is better for the future, what is more responsible, more sustainable, more beneficial for the future. A future that starts right here, right now, in the present. And be able to switch slowly our attention from the rational thinking to our inner feelings about it. Be able to connect with looking inwardly from the depth of metal and even from the reflecting to the surface of our skin. What choice is better? What is it in all those ideas, all those possibilities given to wood that's gonna feel right? And that's gonna feel not only what we really want, but what's more responsible. Connecting with what we feel from our inner depth. What's more comfortable, what's more beneficial for not only ourselves, but for everyone to share. And from all those different ideas, keeping the awareness of what is it that's not responsible. So we know, because we have them also. If you see other people choose this, you know where it's coming from. You know that it has to be respected because they just don't know better. But be able to shine the reflection of the light from the inner metal, and be able to choose for yourself what is more responsible from a place of higher maturity, greater, more refined respect for life. Respect for life means respecting the life of everyone around you. So supporting the widest variety of choice just because you know it's possible, but shining more light so everyone can appreciate where is the beauty, where is the more elegance, where is a better, greater benefit for everyone, where is the future enjoyment of greater enjoyment for life. To using the sharpness of that metal to choose and to reflect the light on only what is the very best from all those ideas we have. And to be able to even perceive what's not possible, what's pure fantasy, well, just for the fun. It's okay. But knowing where it's coming from. So if other people choose those possibilities, you know that's probably lack of maturity or not so refined sense of aesthetic. Or maybe there's not so much reflection of the light. The light has been extinguished by too much water, too much fear from the past. So being able to take the responsibility of a better, knowing better. And that's called true authority, true power. True power, including especially mental power, the whole mind, comes from better knowledge. Be able to respect the authority of knowing better within yourself first. So you can do that also from the authority outside of you, true authority of a better knowledge. Not usurpated authority that requires violence, artificial authority, pretension, self-given authority. Authority is self-given as long as it's coming from the right place, and you know, because you'll be recognized as such. And it's going to be reflected upon you. And with that power comes the responsibility of helping other people to reach those mental places, and to help educate, and it's called to spread the seeds of knowledge the same way you spread the seeds of healing. They are the same seeds. They are the seeds that's going to provide a greater and more refined food for the mind, the entire mind. And that's coming from the central place of earth, and from that table where you put everything that can be contributed to life. So there is choice, and there is a balance, a natural balance, a natural equilibrium of those different forces that happens on that round table. So the earth becomes the support of everything alive. And there is such a wide variety of things alive, and they are not fighting for survival, they are supporting the life of everyone on the table. And that table is holding the life of the cabbages, the life of the goats, the life of the wolves, and the life of the hunters. It's not that who is gonna take over, because that would be destruction of life. But it's gonna be enough life in the cabbages to feed all the goats and still have more cabbages. A life of abundance. And enough goats to feed all the wolves and allow even the wolves population to grow. With the population of goats are going to keep growing as long as there's more cabbages. And then the hunters, that kill the wolves, but also eat the cabbages and eat the goats. So developing that quality of earth that provide and respect life for everyone. A life of joy and abundance. There's no shoulds. There's only universal laws. And universal laws are not too many. Maybe one or two. Number one, we enjoy life. Number two, we share the joy of life. And to do that, we have to respecting life. Respecting life, once you have a full respect of life, you're not afraid of death any longer. Death is also participation of life. No death, no life. No life, no death. So be aware of that round table, that wisdom being set on the whole table, coming from the mental energy, all that knowledge coming from all directions, from the depth of the earth with ancestral knowledge, all those good traditions that makes your life enjoyable, that you adapt yourself to the present to make it even more comfortable. So you bring out more comfort for the next generations in the future. Using the very best of that ancestral knowledge, that all that ancestral mental energy that's there to not only to propagate life, but to support life in all these forms. The tradition of respecting life in all its forms. And be able so to that wisdom of water, that ancient wisdom of life preservation, to choose within the light whatever that fire is too bright, too dangerous. I don't want to burn, don't want to go too fast, too far. So to be able to temper that fire with the very best wisdom of life preservation. And being able to use only the very best of the light of the fire. So it's well contained within the earth. It feels safe to burn. Like the fireplace called the hearth. And a house can build a nice, most beautiful fire without any danger to burn the house. It's well contained. There's water nearby anyway. So be able to feel within yourself that water, the power of water, be able to choose among the flame which one is more beautiful and which one can be dangerous. Following the light, but which light? And make sure that the fire doesn't spread everywhere so you're surrounded. No, you have to contain it with what's most familiar. And conservation of life. Don't burn it out. The progress of going that one direction so you can share that joy of life. That direction that gives you enthusiasm for the future. No future if you burn down everything. So the more progressist you want to be in terms of most beautiful fire to follow, the more conservative you have to be from the past, conserving life, respecting the tradition of providing the best support for a better life. So be able to support that spiritual access from the depth of your ancestry toward the future of the 7th generation in front of you. How to bring a better, always better, greater feeling of life, supporting life in all this form. And all the 7th generation in front of us is going to enjoy a forest, old growth, all the animals in a way that could have never been experienced in the past. We can't possibly know what's going to be in the seventh generation for all of us, but we're going to provide the conditions so this life is going to be possible. A paradisiac life, paradise on earth. The future of paradise on earth that comes right here, right now, from the present, from what we do right here, right now. And what we do around us, our whole zone of influence, reflects exactly what we do with ourselves in the present, right here, right now. Respecting ourselves. Respecting where life is coming from within ourselves. Exposing it to the enthusiasm of our hearts in order to be able to do what we really want to do, the way we really want to do it, the most beautiful way, the most appreciative, not only to be admired by others, but to develop an increased, a more refined sense of self-respect, self-appreciation, always feeling ourselves better and better about ourselves. So we can share that refinement. We can propagate it like a contagion, the contagion of healing, the contagion of appreciation of beauty, appreciation of goodness, and respect of life all around us. So feel yourself solidly anchored from the center, the mentally anchored from that center of that round table that receives all that water energy in your back from the past, going up from the ground, up your back, blooming from the top of your head, being exposed to the sun, blooming into the most beautiful flower you can imagine. Attracting the bees, making honey for the future. Be connecting with that ecstatic principle of life out there. The bees, the butterfly, living in ecstasy. And connecting with the pollen you make into the flower from the sun you receive. So it can be turned into honey and shared with everyone to contribute to the goodness of life around you. Keep that meditation going in your body. You keep it running free without thinking so much about it, just feeling it. Feel yourself solidly anchored between what we call heaven and earth. From the depth of the inner earth from the past, the undergrounds, the underworld, where we're coming from, toward the gardens of the future, exposed to the beautiful lights. Feel the bloom within yourself, being fed by the water, going up your back, feeling that bloom top of the head, going down the front. Feeding your blood and carrying all the energy back to the ground where you get recycled and spring back up to your back. And feel the fountain of life within you. The fountain that runs the energy of life and provides even more life out there. Participating to life. So keep the energy running in your body. Keep the awareness of that energy running all the time in your body. And how you can enhance the circulation of life force within yourself just by mentally connecting with it. And rest. Okay, that was good. 45 minutes. Yeah. Time goes fast when we have fun. Okay. Any questions, observations, feedback? Everyone's silent. Energy is still running. It's really good. So to help you to get back into that more woody part of your mind, looking at the ground behind me, that place of incubation, and where there are all those different dream symbols and incrusted in the ground into those ceramic little tiles. As to be able to use the power of metal at night, especially between the time of 3 and 7 in the morning, where the tide of energy is the greatest in our bodies, so we can process our emotional charges. Process means digest. And be able to extract only the very best and be able to clear all the negative aspects of those emotional charges and eliminate them in the morning. That's why bowel movement in the morning is the most important part. First thing in the morning is the best things right after dreaming. You're moving out things in your mind that is not going to be negatively have a negative influence in your mind. But this dream time can only be useful if it comes with a lot of energy, meaning that by 3 in the morning, you need to be rested already. And so if you go to bed at 2, no way. And that emotional digestion is going to be put on the back burner because you're sending the inner message that you have something better to do, more urgent. So your body's going to serve you. Okay, no dreaming. Don't want to spend that energy there, so you have enough energy when you wake up. So instead, you're just going to really zone out, as we say. I can't remember dreams, can't connect with the dream time because emotional life is too much energy, too much expenditure of energy. So in order to avoid that, very important to go to bed much earlier, especially during that time where the tide of mental energy feeds the wood from 11 at night to 3 in the morning. And that's why that all the insomniacs wake up at 11, because that wave of that tide of energy coming up, feeding the mind. But it's not feeding the mind, it's feeding the brain, it's feeding the nervous system. That's why, the mind feels, oh, and I can wake up. No, it's the brain, your nervous system being fed so it can repair itself, so it can rebuild. It brings that recuperating time in your nervous system. So when you come 3 in the morning, you have the full mental power to heal emotionally. So to be able to be asleep by 11, because you're going to wake up if you're not. You need to go to bed much earlier. See, now it's exactly the equinox, 12 hours. So it's dark at 7:30 where I am here, in near San Francisco in California. So by the time it's 11, it's been dark for how many hours already? From 7 to 11, that's 4 hours. That's half the night for most people. So think about it. All the hours you can be able to sleep before 11 in your nervous system, that counts double. And that's very important also for life, because what happens at 11, all the energy coming inside your, we call the liver in Chinese medicine, but actually it's the nervous system, is trying to clean your nervous system. So you have all that mental dirt that comes out. When you start cleaning your house, you start to find, like sweep around, and all of a sudden everything turns so dirty. So you really have to keep cleaning. So at 11 at night, all that dirt is coming out of the mental corners. All that frustration, all that anger that been accumulated. So if you're awake at 11, you know what happened? You're going to find a way to be angry. And if you are with the people you love, you're going to be angry at them. That's why couples are being destroyed right now. That's because of insomnia. People being awake at 11 at night, they look for a fight with. And they're going to find someone. Even if you're by yourself, they're going to fight with what's coming out of the TV. I mean, that's insane. Coming out of whatever's coming out of your screen in the computer, those media thing. So basically, instead of digesting your emotions, you're living your nightmares. And that's not a good idea. So, and that's such a habit now in people. That's it's crazy. That's a really pathology. That's a really a very bad epidemic. So in order to break down the epidemic, in order to bring back to health, we need to change the pattern of habits that brought it. And the number one pattern of habit that brings this kind of pathology is to go to sleep when you're tired. Don't wait until you're tired. That's too late. You need energy in order to sleep and bring yourself better health. So getting into the discipline of paying attention to yourself. Be respectful of your needs. And especially if you're insomniac and you have the pattern of habit of being insomniac, keeping yourself insomniac, you're going to see that in order to be able to wake up at 11 at night, that every insomniac do, you have to be very tired by 6 or 7 in the evening. But you tell yourself, oh, it's way too early. I don't want to go to bed now. So you keep yourself busy, early dinner, all that, and then you keep busy after that. And then start to, because it's time for social life. between 7 and 11 in the evening. That's the where you have tide of the body that goes into endocrine system. So you have the hormones for it. You want to socialize, you want to talk, and that's very nice. It's time for intimacy. But make sure you go to sleep before 11 because intimacy by 11 turns into fight. And that's normal because we're toxic. You know, we live in a very toxic society. And so this toxicity is going to come out of us at 11. That's normal. If you're by yourself, it's going to come against yourself, being angry at yourself, being disappointed, putting yourself down, you know, feeding your depression. Really, we need to get into the habit of going to bed earlier. I know because I was married to an insomniac, so I know, you know, you married to an insomniac, you become one very easily. And thanks God, you know, I went to divorce. I'm happily divorced now. But it took me years to break down the habit of insomnia. So that's why I know, I've been there, done that. So it takes discipline at the beginning because you cannot just get rid of habit. The habit is water. Remember, water you have to respect. You cannot just throw it away. You have to filter it. You have to change it. And so changing, when you catch yourself into doing something that's going to keep you up at night, you catch yourself, oh, let's do something different this time. Let's change for the better. That's most important. Any questions about that? Everyone's silent. That means everyone needs to hear that. Sorry, that's what we call inconvenient truth. Not easy to hear.
Hey, Gilles, I have a question.
Go ahead.
What if someone is working evenings and nights? Say they get off at 2 o'clock or whatever in the evening. They work from like 4 in the afternoon to like 2 o'clock at night. How do they recover from that?
Very hard. Very hard to recover. Number one, you have to change your job because let other people do it. And see, that's the main thing about humanity. Humanity is designed to work together. So don't get a job that's not so good for you. Might be very necessary, but don't do it for a long time. So, okay, I did my part, so someone else's turn now. So be able to do that. Instead of saying that, oh, now I am the one who knows how to do it. Now I should be doing it all the time. As soon as they should in your mouth, that's called self-abuse. Okay? So you need to change that habit of self-abuse into self-respect. Paying attention to what are you really are your needs. You have been doing like graveyard shift for so many years. Okay, maybe now it's time for someone else to do that. I need to change. I need to get myself back to health. I have a lot of stress. I have a lot of what I call actually sleep depth. Sleep debt. You know, the debt like money. Now you have to pay back your body for the energy that you took out actually out of your kidneys. That's water energy. You have too much adrenals going out, too much adrenaline, so your adrenals are burned out. So you need to replenish. You need to rebuild your saving account of life units. And that's the most important. No one's going to do it for you. No one's going to tell you, oh, take all this money, that's my savings. So to replenish yours. No. This can only be done if you take the responsibility yourself of replenishing your own bank account. And no one is going to do it for you. That works? Sorry about that, yes. In order to heal, you need to change. No healing without change. And again, everyone wants to heal, but no one wants to change. So we're not getting anywhere like that. We need to start changing. in order to make healing happen, in order to make healing possible. That takes discipline, that takes courage. It takes what it takes. It takes support. Don't try to do it on your own. Ask for the support you need in order to get there. And that's what maturity is about. Maturity is about knowing where are your limits. And so once you get to that limits, make sure you have backup. All right. Again, inconvenient truth.
Gilles,
Yes, go ahead.
I'd like to ask a question. Does going to bed earlier help restore your adrenals and kidney health?
Absolutely. That's the only thing that will do it.
Yeah, because I used to work where I got off work at 9:30 or 10. And so then I stayed up till midnight because I was doing body work. And so then I started with the pandemic and not working. Now I'm going to sleep earlier and earlier. And so I just was curious about other benefits besides that other detox. Thank you.
Very good.
I'm noticing a difference. And then what I did was I just went to bed half an hour earlier instead of saying, okay, I'm going to change to go to bed at 9. I would be not able to sleep. So then I like meditate or do restorative things instead of keep the computer off.
Of course. Very good. But that takes courage, to change like that. But again, see, there's a lot of benefit coming out of this pandemic.
Yes.
Any kind of hardship, any kind of especially that brings transition in your life, it's open the possibility for a better life.
It certainly did give me a good opportunity to change some habits.
Very good.
Yeah.
So that's
I
what
won't
we
go back
use.
to the other one.
But pandemic basically is symptomatic. It's a symptom. It has to be respected as the mean to get you through the healing process.
Thank you.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Any other questions? It's already 11 now. We went through an hour already through practice. So now answering questions. So there's no question spontaneously. I'm gonna keep answering that question that came about energy, especially that water energy. And that question, instead of being from lack of energy, it was actually about how about excess, especially those Qigong addicts, those energy obsessed people we are, because I'm one of them. Always being like obsessed with having more energy or better energy, all these things. Yes, be careful. That's why we were talking, I don't know which videos I were talking about excess energy. When you cultivate energy, make sure it's for a purpose and you use a purpose, you will spend energy. Too much energy is more dangerous, much more dangerous than not enough. You can live your whole life. It's like money again, You can live your life quite happily. There's some people on the earth that lives so happy with no money. It's okay. They cannot do everything that people with money can do, but they might do better certain things that other people with a lot of money are not able to do. Because too much money. Too much money is very difficult. You have to manage it. You need to have enough money, to have a comfortable life, of course. But too much money is so heavy on your shoulders. It's so much responsibility and possibilities that basically you're catching fire with no water restriction, meaning that you can go crazy as much as you want. You have the energy for it. So you need someone to extinguish your fire once in a while so you don't burn out, not only you, but everyone around you. So excess energy, yes. And that I've seen that in my life very easily, especially with masters. The masters that teach, people, all the people to raise the energy. And so they raise their own energy, of course, all the time to show other people how to do it. And for them, it's okay. Most of them, they spend the energy into teaching anyway. So it takes a lot of energy to teach, believe me. So energy is spent, it's okay. But sometimes it's not, especially in martial arts, where I'm coming from. And what happens with all that energy starts to consume those people. So they need to relieve themselves of the energy. So a lot of people turning alcoholic. And a lot of people like having to spend the energy into sex, but it's bad sex. It's sex of relief, not sex of love at all. They don't love people they have sex with. So that's that's a corruption of the energy. And fire is burning, but it's burning out your life and the life around you, creating danger and not a very enjoyable life. So we have to be careful about too much energy. So again, if you do your Qigong, for people that do healing, I mean, of course, you usually have a tendency to spend more energy than you ever have. So paying attention, you have to respect yourself, not to spend so much energy, but don't become so obsessed with saving energy that that energy starts to burn you out. And the question was coming from a practitioner, actually, that had started to have a problem sleeping at night because so much energy, can't sleep. He has to go up, or he has to masturbate, or he has to, that sexual energy not be able to sleep. So that means, yes, there's excess energy in the body. But what happens when there's excess energy is not so much because so much energy sometimes, but it's because of being cut off. And the body's not be able, the yang energy not be able to ground, not be able to be recycled. And so it's blocked. So excess energy gets bottlenecked. There is a pathological name for that, that creates what we call chronic fatigue eventually. And that's what is looking at those people with excess energy. And so-called excess energy, one day, your body say, oh, watch out, you're going to get a heart attack or you're going to get a stroke. So how are you going to protect you from going through that? We use the excess energy to actually, like in a bottleneck, being stuck. Being stuck because too much energy cannot go through. It's like you have a crowd of people in a big room that wants to leave the room, but the door is opening in the wrong direction. Everyone is pushing the door, cannot open. That's how you create chronic fatigue in the body. Chronic fatigue is never seen chronic fatigue coming from people with low energy. That's not possible. Chronic fatigue comes from excess energy that cannot circulate. So how do you stop? How do you help people with chronic fatigue? And how do you help people that cannot sleep at night because of that and get into that hellish cycle of accumulating emotional charges that are not digested and that contribute to that overload, that create that pressure, that closes, that restrict the circulation of life in the body. That's a very serious pathological condition that can create all the diseases. So we need to come out, and guess what? How do you get out? You imagine a part of town, there's a lot of traffic. So much traffic, everything is stuck. So how do you get the traffic unstuck? Well, simple. You stop it. You put a red lights. As soon as you have a red light in one direction, that creates a green light on the other. That's what we need to create in our bodies. And of course, anyone with chronic fatigue will tell you, I'm going so slow already. You're still going too fast. You're still going. You go, and not only you're still going, but you're going still as fast as you can, even more than that, because you're getting tired. You have to stop. So you have to stop doing what you do that creates a pattern of habits that keeps you up at night because you do something. You wouldn't be like that without a habit that brings it. So you have to catch yourself, you have to pay attention, you have to stop. And yes, it's very difficult to stop completely when you feel like you're going too slow, but there's no way around it. Everyone that recovered from chronic fatigue can tell you, thanks God they had chronic fatigue. It's much better to have chronic fatigue than a stroke or a heart attack. Don't let yourself have that. You're going to realize that having chronic fatigue is a healthy reaction. It's a protective reaction to help you get to that place where you stop. And the best way to stop is to go to bed earlier, to have naps during the day, to pay attention to your body that tells you, I need more water in my fountain. So connecting to where that water is coming from. And the only way to let it run is to stop spending the energy of the waking time, giving yourself to nap, to sleep a little, every day a little longer, even a few minutes. And I work with people with Parkinson's that sleep maybe 1 hour, half an hour a night, and be able to go to sleep little by little, 1 more hour every night, and that doubles your night. And then double with 2 hours, and then 4 hours, and then 8 hours. This is done by stopping. Stop running. Take your time. Pay attention. Listen to yourself. Respect yourself. Stop before you're tired. When you're tired, that means you're exhausted. Too late. You have to start over again. So again, paying attention, respecting yourself. So it always goes down to the same thing. That's going to change your chemistry. And once you're in a pathological field, your ratio serotonin adrenaline falls down to adrenaline, and that gives you basically pumping out your adrenals into more adrenaline in your system that creates all the inflammatory condition. And let's say that promotes all the cortisol and all the inflammation, everything that makes you want to stop, actually, including arthritis. I know about that. I've been, I just healed from arthritis. I know what it is. I was paralyzed in bed. Yeah. But that's the only thing that made me stop. I know what I'm talking about. I've been there, done that. See, I lost my hair, I lost some of my teeth, Now I try to grow back hair, forget it, but I'm growing back teeth. It's okay. Doing the right thing. For that, you need to replenish your adrenals. So you have to replenish your kidneys. You need to sleep. So right now we're going toward winter. We're passing the equinox. So nights start to get longer than 12 hours. Imagine you would do if we didn't have lights, electric lights. Even if you don't sleep 12 hours. If you sleep, say, 4 hours here, 4 hours there, another couple hours there, but that's already 10 hours. Yeah. So it means like even if you wake up in the middle of the night, midnight, people have that midnight little snack, gather around in the darkness, around the table, around the fire. You have to replenish the fire. So it's warmer because it's going to our winter, right? And what do you talk about? You talk about your dreams. You share your dreams. You become more intimate with people that you share your household with. You share emotional life from the most abstract perspective. That's what creates bonds between humans. Not what you think is right. Not all those political things, because can be friends and other political. No, it could be even a better friend. It's not, because friendship is not rational. It's about emotions, and that needs to be respected. So sharing your dreams, that's the best way to do that. And it doesn't have to be only verbal. You don't need to translate your dreams, or especially don't interpret your dreams. It's not a good idea. But you can express differently. Art, playing music, or listening to music. Just looking for the piece of music you want to hear at certain points. I mean, that's supporting your soul, supporting your emotional life into progress, into digesting better, into appreciating the refinement of life better. Listening to music that makes you feel good, that supports your emotional state. Of course, playing it is even the best. Playing the way you feel like playing it, instead of the way you should, of course. Okay, I've been talking and talking and talking, but that's about the excess energy. Yes, excess energy exists, but it's not only because of so much more energy, it's because too much restriction inside. Yang energy is not be able to go down. If you don't ground your yang energy, no yin energy can come in from the ground. People trying to pump in yin energy. It's not possible. It's not natural. Yin is passive. Only yang is active. And the only thing you can do in order to get yin energy up is to put your energy down, yang energy down. It's everything you need to ground. So you need to get rid of. It's not only the excess. It's all the stagnant energy, all the negative energy. What's bad for you is good for the rest of nature. It's called recycling. Give back to the ground, so the ground distribute it where it's needed. So it's no such thing as your energy being bad for you, being bad for everyone. No, you need to go back to the earth, and the more you give out to the earth, the more comes in from all the things that dies around that feeds you. The same way you eat, you have to kill the vegetables in order to eat them. So the vegetables become you. You don't become a vegetable, hopefully. You get the very best of their energy to feed your system.
Hey, Gilles.
Okay. Yes.
Gilles, I have a question. So the Qigong exercises that we learned from you, that helps us balance everything so we don't have too much energy. So we don't keep it. Is that okay? All right.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the idea, again, is not so much to try not to have too much energy, but to get rid of the energy that we have stagnant. The obstruction, the energy that creates the obstruction in ourselves. And so reducing in order to grow. That's the whole idea. Because you can never take in enough. You want to bloom, in your fire. You want to have always more, but you want to have quality. You don't want to accumulate. See, the problems is about saving. People saying, I want to accumulate and save the energy. Well, that's called stagnant energy. Stagnant energy rots. You turn into a swamp. Not a good idea. So when we talk in Qigong, we talk about saving energy, but in saving you do when you play a bit, the pipe, the bagpipe. So you accumulate the air into the bag, but you don't keep it there. You have to keep pressing it, emptying the bag, so you blow your music louder, right? So you accumulate energy in your body the same way to express energy better. So you can be heard from further away. So it doesn't stay in your body. Same thing with your savings. The saving in your bank is just not accumulating, fortunately. All the bank you save is actually recirculating into a whole economy in there. So eventually it goes back to you, but it's been regenerated with interest. The interest is what you get from fresh, refreshing your energy. That's water being used, being circulated. Stagnant water, you circulate it for 10 minutes, oxygen mixes in there and kills all the bacteria. That's what happens to your savings when you invest at the right place. It regenerates more businesses around you. So invest local. Invest of big banks that accumulates only to the rich people, becomes stagnant energy that rots people out. No, invest in local business. Invest in local, we call local banks. Saving credit unions, things like that. Much more useful for local economy. Not only feeding the rich and the richest and the more corrupt, the more sick because of this accumulation of energy that's become stagnant in there. Safe. Yeah, if you call safe, but it's a rotting place, it's a swamp. No good. Yes, there's David making a sign there. Yeah, go ahead.
There's a couple questions that were typed in there. Kara says, speaking of energy congestion, can you speak about epilepsy?
Absolutely. Yes. I had a lot of very good outcomes with people with epilepsy that actually stopped completely. Actually, see, epilepsy is not what we want to, the symptom of epilepsy is actually a healthy reaction. Even check it out, on the Wikipedia, whatever you have access now, because doctors know, and they've been put out there. Epilepsy, we call the seizure, and the seizure of epilepsy is actually a way for your nervous system to reset itself. It's like pushing the reset button on your nervous system, so your nervous system recovers. It's like when you have your screen, all of a sudden it's blocked. It doesn't move, nothing moves. So you have to restart. You have to reboot. That's what epilepsy is. So that's what you don't want to stop. What you want to stop is the reason why people need to have epilepsy. Why do people need to have those crises? And can be very spectacular. I mean, I've seen people with in the middle of the seizure, they bite the tongue, they bleed, they hit the head. So when people have a seizure in front of you, very important to put something in their mouth so they don't bite the tongue, and to protect them from hitting the head somewhere to getting hurt. But everyone with epilepsy is going to tell you that while they have the worst of their seizure, they have a sense of relief. They don't feel bad at all. They wake up out of it smiling. Oh, I feel good. Everyone, of course, terrified around them because it's very spectacular, very frightening episode. But if you're the ones having it, you feel relieved. You feel actually quite good. Besides, if you hit your head or bite your tongue, of course, that's a side effect. But in your nervous system, there is a relief. So what's creating that need to reset your nervous system? We just talked about it. It's a bottleneck. And the bottleneck of energy that stops not only your nerves from getting the impulse, but what's feeding your nerves, that's your endocrine system and, most important, your meridian system. That's how we heal epilepsy, is by improving the circulation of qi, especially right on C7. For people that have clients that want to work with epilepsy, relieving that pressure, the pressure of bringing what we call the syndrome of Atlas. Too much responsibility, but it's not so much responsibility in terms of functional, rational thinking, it's emotional. And that's why epilepsy can start very young in kids, because there is, basically kids, again, being the extension of their parents, and they feel the parents certain, or maybe one, or maybe both, or there is a family tradition of having a lot of responsibility. It happens a lot in politics. kids of, very high-level politicians and things like that. So the kids inherits, those stars from the parents, and, they have that, basically they develop the capacity to heal from it by having the right kind of symptoms. So again, in order to do that, it means changing pattern of habits. And those are people usually type A people, very evolved, very active. And there's nothing wrong with that. But again, think about self-respect, knowing your limits, and learning from your symptoms in order to outgrow them, not to correct them. Because again, they're healthy reactions to unhealthy situations. And we need to change the situations. So the idea is not to stop the epilepsy, is to stop the reason why the body needs to create that reset button, the situation. And therefore, everyone is going to be a little different, of course, so the treatment has to be adapted to the person. But again, think about C7. That's a crossroad of all the nerves and the nervous system. If you break your C7, you cannot breathe. And in accidents, people know that. Cannot breathe or cannot have a heartbeat, is instant death. You break the spinal cord there, you're dead very rapidly. And for the meridian system, same. Every yang meridian, all the energy going down, if it stops there, that creates a swamp, the Atlas syndrome, being overwhelmed with responsibility. And when you're overwhelmed, you cannot reach out for help. Everything falls back into your shoulders. Very painful situation. So freeing up structurally and connecting with how it's reflected on the diaphragm, the way to breathe, the structure of the ribcage, and the whole chin and sound, Tao touch principle there, of course. Yeah, but life is designed for healing. So we need to find the design in every symptom.
Okay, thank you. That all makes sense. I'm teaching her about, exactly, I remember you talking about C7, so I did find the congestion neck and C7, but I didn't know about this connection to the diaphragm. So can you just say a little bit more about that?
Very simple. That's basically the base of the fourth booklet, the structure of emotions. And how you cannot change your emotional life if you don't change the supports it. And where the structure of your body starts is in your diaphragm. It's the way you breathe. Everyone breathes differently, and that's the reason why. And we all breathe differently because we feel differently. So your diaphragm holds your whole psychological profile. So if you're stuck with chronic anxiety, for example, which is very common, you can work out all the psychological reason you have anxiety, and you're going to find plenty, but it's not going to change the way you breathe. You need to change the structure. That you need your hands for that. You need to, at the physical level, bring the body to a place where you start to feel there's a different choice. I have the choice of being able to breathe differently. So working with the nervous system, so he finds a better choice. And eventually he's going to adopt it. And once you start to breathe differently, your diaphragm changes, the whole structure of your body changes.
Great.
Thank you. But not so easy to do, because that change, to change your profile, you change your habits also. That's why, healing is be holistic. You have to apply your best. You have to involve the whole life of the person. That works?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Time is going fast, eh? Only half an hour left. But that was very, very essential questions we are boarding today. So I'm very happy about that. Very satisfied. Getting really to the core of the healing process and the need to differentiate those intelligences into one mind and the self-supporting mind instead of being caught up always with the internal conflicts. Okay. Any other questions?
I think I have a question about water and working with
Yes.
ancestral stuff and instinct.
Yes.
Because there's some,
Uh-huh.
you know, there's some positive and negative
Absolutely.
in that. So how do you like get rid of the negative but keep the positive aspect?
Bring it to the sun. And let nature run its course. How do you bring stuff to the sun? Do the sunning. Bring yourself to the sun. You cannot ask your body to do something that you're not doing yourself. People don't spend enough time in the sun. Even especially because you know what they watch TV. So TV they tell you don't go to the sun. So you're getting your tan only from the screen of the TV, and not so good. Don't get much vitamin D out of that. In terms of vitamin D, in terms of there's the deficiency in all the countries actually exposed to the sun. Crete, people have low, they run low on vitamin D because they cover, you know, they even in the middle of the summer, they have no sleeves, they wear a hat, sunglasses, in order to send a message that it's dark out there. So you don't develop the melanin of your skin, so you don't get the tan. You don't develop the serotonin, you don't develop vitamin D. So you start to become depressed. So we need to revitalize ourselves. And to revitalize, we need to get attracted to life. So we have to first go out to the light. So that's why the sunning meditation is so important to change, not only to change the chemistry in terms of ratio between serotonin and adrenaline, but also to change your whole psychological profile and to become more enthusiastic about life, to be more optimistic and to be able to set up the right conditions for it, of course. It's not only to be optimistic for the hell of it. That's to be stupid. No, you have to be because you do the right thing and you know that's going to make it a better future. Not so easy to live. But it's okay, you know, because then you enjoy it more and more. And the more you enjoy life, the more you can put effort into it. You invest. And the more you invest, the more energy comes to you. That's how you get more energy. It's by giving out. Make room for more energy to come in. If you hold on to your energy, no energy can come in any longer. You start to rot. Not a good idea. The more energy you have, the more energy you have to give. And that's the principle of wood. In order to grow, it needs to go out. You need to give out. And the leaves that fall out every year to grow new spring, you know, all the fruit that fall down to the earth to make more earth, more food for the whole nature. And the nature is so generous. So the more you cultivate in yourself the capacity to share your knowledge, the more comes to you. The more I teach, the more I learn, the more I know, and the more I know, and the more I can share. So I don't do that only for the goodness of my heart because I want you to become better. No, because it makes me, I get to reap the benefits. The more you learn, the better I know. How about that? So you have to do the same thing. The more you know, the more you give out that knowledge. Spread the field of healing. That's the natural way. That's the way of nature. It's not only one more theory, it's just the way things are. And that's what Taoism is about. It's the way things are. It's not the way of whatever superior authority, you don't even know where it's coming from. No, it's a natural way coming from the depth of the earth. Yes, from the principle of life, from the source of everything. And from the depth of the earth and the heights of the heavens, both together. Both of the absolute, if we call it in the I Ching, the yin and yang absolute of earth and heaven. That's why in meditation I was telling you about being anchored between heaven and earth. It's between anchored into those both polarities, the infinite of the source of life. So it's not new. No, Taoism is much older than any of the civilization, current civilization on earth. It's about connecting with the source of life directly. Yeah, so here it is. So we need not only to open ourselves to it, but we need to do it. Go out in the sun. So you develop the vitamin D, you develop the vitality, you develop melanin on your skin, so it makes you feel good. You absorb that enthusiasm for life so you can share it. That's the way it's done. Anything else?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
A long time ago, you talked about the resonance or the sounds. You gave us the two sounds, the ah and the
Okay,
mm.
you're talking is very choppy. I cannot hear what you're saying.
Sorry, let me turn this off.
Yeah, go ahead.
You gave us sound resonances for two of the elements.
Oh, the sounds. Yes.
I was wondering if you could give us the other three.
No.
Because no.
No.
Okay.
Because the other three are part of those two. We're talking about heaven and earth, the two polarities of life.
Okay.
Earth sound, going toward the sun. Ah. I'm going to give you the other sounds just because you asked for it. But what are the other sounds? The other sounds are the water sounds that comes in the afternoon. That's nap time. So it's the sound of going back into the past, letting yourself float on the surface of water so you connect with only the very best, the freshness of the surface of water. Let the mud go down to the bottom, right? So that's the sound of what we do naturally. And that's, again, the sound that even your dog is going to understand. That's the sound you do when you're tired and you want to just, the sound of water. You clean your body. Let yourself float in, taking a shower, getting all that yang energy down. The energy. The sound you do when you want to cool off something, right? Now you want to warm up something, you go, the sound of sun. Now you want to cool off your hand, the sound of water. Natural. Your body knows that. So that's the sound of water. From water, in the afternoon, go into fire, but social fire from again 7-Eleven, endocrine fire. So that's intimacy. So what is the sound of intimacy? Ask any animals around you, they know it. And you know it also, kids know it especially. You meet someone you like just to be with, and you haven't seen for a while. Ee sound. Ee. That what makes you feel good. Say ee to everyone, and they're going to close to you and share your smile. Doesn't matter what political party you're in. Doesn't matter if you know what all your differences. You go ee. And that's the sound of intimacy, the sound of the endocrine fire, and the sound of social, sharing your fire, sharing the human warmth. So that's what you need to cultivate in the evening from 7 to 11. But don't go to 11, because then that's the beginning of the sound of wood. The sound is going to wake you up if you're not asleep by then. The sound is going to make you fight with your partner instead of intimacy. Yeah. So the sound of wood is the sound you need to do to fall asleep. And the sound, again, your whole universe knows about it, is silence. You know wood is growing. You ever hear it? You hear that the tree growing. No. Your vegetable in the garden. No. The lawn growing in your front yard. No. Everything's silent. Wood grows healthy in silence. In order to understand anything, you need to quiet. You need to create that mental space for the wood to grow. You need to be asleep. And the sound of that young wood energy that goes down so that wood can grow in yourself. And growing your synapses, growing your brain. So you have a better infrastructure for your mind to expand and to open your mind. So that's the sound of wood. And then the last sound, and the sound, the emotional sound, from 3 to 7 at night. So it's not any longer. It's very noisy, it's your dreams. But the dream is a protector of your mind. So your dream is going to have a way to protect you from emotional shock, basically. Well, sometimes you have a nightmare because an emotional break is passing, but that's okay. But once you start to work with your emotions, you don't have nightmares any longer. You have only strong dreams. And the meaning, doesn't matter how strong that meaning is to move smoothly. Smoothness of steel, the smoothness of metal, very well polished, the smoothness of your bowel movement. And that's what creates a health of your emotional life, the smoothness of your breath. You breathe all the time, fortunately, don't make so much noise. Only when you snore. And when you snore, it's because it's needed. There's so much internal noise going on. You need to sleep deeper. So the snore gives you that vibration to sleep deeper. So people around us, of course, they don't like us snoring, especially if they're insomniacs. But I tell you, the remedy against the snore, don't stop snoring. If your snore bothers you, especially snore of others, snore yourself. Snore together. And you will be sleeping both much better. Learn how to snore if you don't know how to snore. But your snore is going to make you sleep, not being awake by a little noise. That's your insomnia that does that. Someone with no insomnia, doesn't matter how much snoring there is around, they sleep. I know. Again, that's an inconvenient truth. That goes against, what people are trying to do, what should be doing again. But that's why there's no cure. You're doing the wrong thing. You don't correct the snore. You correct the reason why you have to snore, because you're too tired. You're doing something in your life that's overwhelming, that prevents emotional digestion. So you need to snore in order to break that through. So once you've done that, you stop snoring. So you heal the snore by healing the reason why you need it, not the snore itself. Snore, again, is a healthy reaction to an unhealthy situation. Same than with, the seizures. You want to stop the symptom, you want to stop the reason why you have it. Same thing with the flu. It's not everyone catches the virus. Some people get sick, some people don't. If you don't want to get sick, you need to get rid of the reason why you will get sick. It's congestion in your body, too much mucus, too much accumulation. You clear up, you detoxify, and no virus is going to get in there, because they know if they get in, they're going to get killed. Your immune system is too high. But your fuel system is already overwhelmed with so much resistance, so much obstruction, so many, there's a swamp in there. Then you're going to need you to get sick in order to take care of yourself. Again, healthy reaction. And be able to adopt a systematic perspective of holistic approach to health. Most important. Stop fighting. You're fighting yourself. Who's going to win? Most important. And teach it, tell other people. So it start to become common sense instead of being like some kind of exceptional way of thinking. No. Spread the field of healing so it becomes normal. Right now, the pathological field is normal. You want to change the normal into something better. Okay.
So what's the sound for metal?
We just did it. The sound of smoothness is, you don't hear a thing. It's the sound of silk polishing metal. If you want to have your car being smooth, and you want to touch it, a silky feeling, no sound. It's a sound of smoothness. Zzz. In the movies, they try to create that sound. In the slasher movies, with the sound of the sword in the air, zzz. And the slashing sound. That's the sound of metal. It doesn't really exist. You don't hear those those sounds, but your mind knows what it is. And the sound of smoothness.
May I add something?
Go ahead. Yeah, here's the musician here.
Long ago, I was a recording engineer, self-made, and I actually recorded all kinds of organic sounds from the environment. And one of them that I recorded was the sound of two pieces of metal scraping as very smooth, like a sword, like the shish of sharpening your knife.
Yes.
On examining it in the engineering area, it is actually the product that is white noise. They describe it as white noise, a blanketing of all frequencies.
Nice.
In audio. And it's a very soothing sound, rather hypnotizing when listened to at a low level. It's a beautiful thing. And I was associating that just now with the snoring that the body produces as a vibration. It's that's a deeply entranced state of dream that allows deeper emotional processing. And
exactly.
So the snore is actually then caused by the need to go into a deeper state. So it's not that the snore is wrong. It is the expression of the metal envelope of the for the internal self to do its job.
Exactly.
So snoring's not wrong, but my partner doesn't like my snore, right? So I'd like to be able to shift gently her perspective on what I'm doing there.
You have to teach her. You have to teach her to snore.
Very good.
Very good. Teaching music. You're teaching music, so it shouldn't be that difficult.
Very good. But I want to share the fascination that I had with the sound. Of frequency around. It's quite an interesting cutting edge area there. It's pretty nice.
Very, very nice. Very nice. Very good. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Summer has a question.
Go ahead.
Hi, Gilles.
Hi, Summer.
Always lovely listening to you.
Cool.
You're a healing sound in and of yourself, my friend.
Yeah.
So my
I'm
question,
trying.
yeah, you're doing very well. You're succeeding. My question for you is, I was introduced to the 6 healing sounds as a Qigong instructor. And so can you tell me how these new ideas that you're sharing for me, how they correlate or complement the 6 healing sounds that we learn in Qigong?
They neither complement, neither change. They are. You know, if you learn, I learned those healing sounds also with Master Chi, are the same. They are the same sound. It's just that once you put a meaning, then you know them. Instead of trying to imitate a sound that you don't understand because it's not integrated, then it becomes off, out of tune. But once you connect it with meaning, when it becomes meaningful, then you become very precise. So starting, I mean, with it's the sound of the heart. Same with my and the sound of the other fire sound being the endocrine sound is E, of course. Same sound. The sound of wood growing, the sound of the wind in the branches. Same sound. The sound of metal. It's a sound. It's the same. And the sound of earth. That's where people get stuck because they're not in their bodies. They are into their thinking about it. So what can be the frequency of earth? No, it's actually the sound of bass, the sound of drums, the supporting sound in orchestra. It's not the sound somewhere gives the harmonics. It's the sound that supports the harmonics into a rhythm, with a bass sound, a supportive sound. And that's the sound that your body knows best. It's the humming sound, the or the It's the sound that really connects with your state of being. Yeah. So that's just your sound of earth. So it doesn't matter which state of being you are, you're gonna have a sound coming out. So if it's like sound, that's what most people live with. You want to change the to a have something more appreciative in the body, and something that tastes sweeter, and something that really nourishes to be to the so it can just do of like it's over or the weight of life, and also enjoyable. Those
Very
so
good. Very
not the
good. Thank you
sound,
for that. I'm going to
the
listen to
meaning.
my own sounds these next few days
So
to
that means you
determine
already do
perhaps
it.
where it's coming from.
Yeah,
I do a lot, like
exactly.
with my students, with the people on the table. I do
Universal.
this when they're getting it, when they're understanding, when they're feeling it into their body in a way that's lighting them up. So thank you. Thank you for giving me more of the natural, personal
Following the
approach to the
tradition.
sounds.
It's really following the tradition from the master to the origin of the master. So basically, yes, everything we learn from a master, very important. But if you imitate the master, that's not the teaching. That's imitation. Don't imitate. You need to integrate. Once you make it your own truth, then you can transmit it. Don't teach something that you don't have. That's imitation. That's not authentic. That's actually very bad. It's called stealing, cultural stealing. We steal from a culture to try to improve our own, but that's theft. That's poison fruit. That's not good for you. You need to regrow. You use the principle of life. You want to have the same fruit, create your own seed, create your own tree, and the fruit will come out. Tastes so much sweeter, so much better for you.
No, it's true. It does. It comes for me through meditation and through dream time a lot. What am I going to teach next? I don't know. Let me dream about it.
Exactly.
Let me meditate about it.
Very good. You got it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your words, for your healing sounds.
Yes. Okay. questions? We have only a few minutes left. So, it's been a very enjoyable, cycle of teaching here. And so I'm going to have a break. In fact, I'm going to keep teaching. I'm going to go to Europe now. I'm going to travel. And going through all the quarantine I have to go through in order to teach. And eventually using that quarantine, actually, to finish the writing. Finally, time to stop and finish that third booklet so I can start to invest into the fourth. Yeah, still more to come. And when I come back in November, it's going to be a new cycle of teaching. So we're going to continue more advanced classes, but we're going to have to add a new class for beginners and teaching really the essence from the beginning. So it's not only for beginners. It's going to be the best review also for the old senior, even experienced students, because we're only going to get to the core and the essence of what is important for people to learn in order to improve their lives. So that's going to be back in November, going toward the winter solstice, where we're going to be the depth and the opportunity for deep incubation. And we're going to really get into that, into the seasonal practice. So in the spring, we're going to come out with a brand new energy of healing. Yeah, yes, it's more to do, but I enjoy doing it, so no effort. Okay, so it's maybe time for one more question. No questions? I see it's a little list on the chat thing, but I see there's like 9 or 8.
No questions there.
Okay. I mean, hey, we got some good practice here. So I recommend practice and start with the most essential, which is your inner chemistry. You cannot meditate. You cannot possibly go through a healing process if you have too much adrenaline in your system. You have a system that's acidic. Doesn't matter how much you're going to try to meditate, because you're not going to meditate, you're going to just try to meditate. That's horrible. That's not enjoyable. No, you want to get to a place where your body wants to meditate and you're going to be enjoying it. And that's going to require you to have more serotonin in your system. So please do your sunning. Go out in the sun, pump out that attraction to life in your system, so you get this enthusiasm for life. You get that vitality from life, opening the bloom, in your consciousness, exposing your inner flower to the sun, so you can develop your own pollen. And the pollen turns into honey. You don't even have to make the honey yourself. Let the bees take care of it. And that's the beauty about life. You participate to life. You don't really do something else but putting your own touch. But make sure that touch is nice. A nice touch. Make it the whole, your life around you a little more beautiful, a little more enjoyable for everyone. That's what I recommend the most. So you cannot do that if you don't go to the sun, go to the light, and go to bed earlier. And now we're going to a winter, so invest into incubation. So incubation, you're gonna melt your inner caterpillar. Your caterpillar getting overwhelmed by the butterfly cells that want to develop in your body. So you have to melt out your caterpillar body into the chrysalid. So in the spring, you're going to wake up with wings all of a sudden. You don't know how, you don't know why. But as long as you set the right conditions, it will. It's natural. And those conditions is to go to the sun. So you develop the serotonin that turns into melatonin at night. It allows you to dream and to feed yourself with that energy that's growing your wings for the springtime. Digesting your emotional life. Okay, so I think that's gonna be it. I was very happy teaching not only this class but the whole series. I learned a lot myself. The more I teach, the more I learn. Now I know that I can teach even better through this media. If you had told me last year only, before I even started, that I was going to do that, oh, that's crazy. You can do that. You can transmit this kind of knowledge through a screen. Yes, we do now. We have the technology for it. It works very well, actually. It works better. And not so everything goes through, through presence eventually. We're going to start to do a group, a live-in presence group. But it's going to bring that to the next level. It's very, very, very good. I'm glad that teaching through the internet is possible because it helps to reach out and cultivate the field of healing in the wider spectrum. It's very, very nice. So thank you, David, for setting the ground for that, because I won't be able to do that myself. With technology, no, thank you. Good thing that David, you're taking care of that. So I'm very appreciative.
My pleasure.
Thank you for all the participants, because without participants, I'll be talking to myself, and not very good. And so knowing that, yes, the field of healing is expanding. So keep working on peace, keep working on spreading health and healing and joy. So I'll be seeing you, hopefully, knocking on wood, seeing you in November, my return from Europe.
Yes.
All right.
And if you'd like to join in October for Qigong Fridays with Kaleo and Elise Ching, please do.
Yes, I'll be try to, but 9 hours difference makes it very difficult. Yeah.
I was speaking to everybody else. But you're welcome to
no
too.
problem. I took those Aloha Qigong classes like a long time ago with Kaleo, and I got a lot out of it. I really recommend, and this is very nice. And Kaleo, very nice person also. There's a connection with spirit that's very strong. So even being there, listening to him talking is very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Gilles.
Oh, thank you.
I love the mosaic behind you.
Thank you, Daniel.
Yes. Yeah. And the mosaic of healing that you present.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Gilles. Thanks, David.
Bye.
Okay.
Merci, Gilles. Thanks.
See you in November. All right.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy October. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Gilles.
Thank you. Thank you.